Okay. Thank you for everybody for being here. This meeting is the webinar. We've moved over from Telegram due to technical difficulties there, due to the numbers. There's already as many in here now as there were last night. So thank you all for being here. So I'm going to try and help bring some clarity and transparency. I think that's what most people are looking for, but actually, more importantly, and that's the first thing. And more importantly, is what we can do, or what you can all do as a collective, to assist Anna in the work that she's Trojanly doing, to help give the people back what is theirs. So let me go first in reverse. Let me explain what Anna is doing, so that people have a very clear idea. You have to understand, Anna has been at this for years. She's learned all the terms, and all the legal and lawful terms, all the history to an extent, not all the history. We got some brilliant historians here as well, and which she recognizes. But she's done a huge amount, and she's got so much knowledge. She often finds it next to impossible to try and summarize things. So that's what I'm hopefully here to try and do for you all. So once again, sorry for the technical issues earlier on, and I will show. I was having some issues as well with my camera, but I will show myself shortly if I can. So anyway, let's begin. So following on from last night, there was some. I'm repeating myself. Apologies for those who did hear on Telegram. I'll be as quick as I can, and for those who didn't, that's why I'm repeating it. So for the purpose of for those who were left last night's webinar, which I thought was ended very well, definitely, and there's some really good questions asked, and Anna answered them as best as she can to the knowledge she has, which is an absolute wealth of knowledge. But obviously, it doesn't necessarily all connect and relate to everybody. So there was some negative stuff. There's always some negative stuff. But then again, I try and look at, if people are speaking from the heart, we can't ever say it's a negative response. If they're speaking from the heart, whether that heart is filled with a lot of fears and trepidation, if they're speaking from a genuine purpose, of a genuine intention from the heart, we can't really say it's negative, and we can't say it's wrong. And I always believe, I've always lived by the, no matter what, if you make a choice, and that's the number one fundamental law God gives us, is free will to choose. Is that whatever your choice is, if it's done with from your heart to pure intentions, it's never the wrong choice, because it's bringing you closer to where you are destined to be. That's my own philosophy. That's what I believe to be true. And so on that basis, for those that did come back and say it was no good, or there wasn't this really benefit, and no transparency, we're not really sure where you are. So that the purpose of this, to begin with, I'm going to let you know and hopefully bring some clarity. So let's get straight into it. So Anna, at the moment, is decided to. She's doing two things. One is on for every, well, both things, or both paths, or both strategies are for everybody. So let's be clear. Everything she's doing is always for the people. She's, as a fiduciary. A fiduciary's fundamental duty is to always put the people, whoever that may be. In this case, it's the whole of humanity, especially our international public governments, our international assemblies, and all those who have returned to the land and soil. So she is doing this for the people, and that's her duty, is always to put the interests of the people first, before her own. So that's why she says that she would be the last, for example, to get deployed in any of the credit that she's been working on to be released, because as fiduciary, you're the last to benefit. That's the nuts and bolts of it. She was aware of that. So that in its own right would tell you the heart and the mind and the spirit this woman is doing this from. She's not doing it for her own benefit of her own health, of her own wealth. It's everyone else before her. So she's worked at this tirelessly. I don't know why I can't say certain words today, but tirelessly, and to the point, and she's had to go down rabbit holes, and she's had to bring all these claims on behalf of the people. She's done so through all the so-called authorities that shouldn't be in power and controlling us, from the Vatican to the Roman Curia to the World Banks, World Courts, International Court of Justice, the Bank of International Settlements, the de facto corporate governments, corporation governments, especially the 60 that you mentioned, were at the heart of the British Crown Corporation and their fraud and deception and their enslavement. Because those 60 governments have been fully funded since the 40s through the De Villa Family Trust. So I don't want to have to repeat what's already been said many times. But in summary, the De Villa Family Trust is one of, if not the most wealthiest and private trust, that the assets were supposed to be for the people, but as usual, they weren't, and because the previous heirs of the family were not aware of the jurisdictions, i.e., land, air, water, like many people, and they weren't aware of the whole requirement to actually lawfully reconvene and to return the assets in the De Villa Family Trust to the land and soil, where living men and living women have the authority to inherit these assets. And remember, only living men and living women can inherit land and can inherit the assets on the land. And that is very important to remember. So in any other capacity, you don't have the authority to inherit land or the physical assets that are born from the land. So the De Villa Family Trust has got such a massive amount of trust and assets that Anna realized this was the key to unlocking the recoupment and the redeployment and the abundance, and to end poverty, to bring all the governments, fund all the public governments, etc., and bring them all back into operation and restoration. A shout out to Tennessee. I got the Tennessee message to say they've already built their 4 pillars of their assembly. So major congratulations, as well as Ohio. If anyone else has done so, please let us know. So anyway, the whole purpose of the work that Anna has been doing is to help restore the public governments, because they are the vehicle of that issue lawful real money, and they are the vehicles that charter the public banks, and the public banks are where the lawful money is distributed and deployed, etc. Now, Anna thought she had the ideal partner in Hunter to do that through the Global Family Bank. She's already explained that didn't work out. Of course, mistakes were made in terms of, of course, what they were doing. But looking back, you have to put your faith and trust in people. You don't expect them to suddenly turn on you. But that's what happened. And for whatever reasons, his reasons, blackmail, whatever reasons, greed, whatever it is, that was not. She didn't have a crystal ball. None of us did. But from Christmas, I started to have my own kind of let's say questions, and even Anna from Christmas was very disappointed, because she was certain Christmas the deployment would be able to be done. Now, the question I've been trying to look at is who's done what, and where can we actually get this fixed. So it did need a bit of time to get the facts and ducks in a row for Anna to actually discover who was doing what and who wasn't doing their job, and ultimately it fell on the sword or Hunter fell on the sword as the main man who was up to no good. And anyway, so we won't go into that, but that bank that was chartered was the only public chartered bank that was chartered through the Lawful American Federation, the Lawful American Federation of States, which is the lawful American government on a national level, that was actually able to publicly charter the Global Family Bank. Anna as fiduciary, and also as fiduciary of the American Treasury, and appointed Hunter as the Director of Treasury and the Director of Global Family Bank. And the rest is history. We don't need to go back over old ground on that. So that shows you the power that ultimately she did that, so that the assets that Anna had discovered in the De Villa Family Trust, and secondly, the assets that she herself personally is the last known living descendant or heir of the Saint Germain Trust. Nobody else to her knowledge, has stepped forward as a remaining living descendant. The only other one before her was her sister, who tragically passed last year. I'm sorry, the year before. Excuse me, Anna, if I've got that wrong. And I think that was 2024. But anyway, her sister passed. She was the only other last living heir and descendant of the Saint Germain Trust. Now, that's Anna's wealth, and that's what she spoke about. So what she's decided to do, while she's in the process of, I will say, use this word, but it's probably not the right word, piggybacking off the International Criminal Court, ICC, which is has a lot of power to investigate and to charge and bring people to prosecute those such as Benjamin Netanyahu. I've got the name wrong there. Excuse me. I never get that name right. But who cares? He's not someone I want to remember. But his crimes against humanity in 2024 with the bombing of Gaza began the actual ICC's investigation into his crimes against humanity. So that was 2024. On the basis of that, and Anna would have been very aware of it, she has begun a kind of a strategy and campaign to help take down the British Crown Corporation. Now you're probably going, how is that possible? But it is possible to all the work that she's done, which has ultimately involved the main stakeholders, which is the Vatican, the Pope, the Roman Curia, the Vatican, and the Vatican Corporation, and the British Crown Corporation, and all the subsidiaries of the British Crown Corporation that are corporations, including all these 60 and so corporate incorporated governments, such as USA Inc., and Government of Ireland Inc., and the British government and the UK government, etc., etc. They're not public governments, they're masquerading, and that in its own right is massive, massive fraud. If enough of us people, and I'm jumping ahead here, but if enough people are aware of that and really home in on that through your lawful assemblies and governments, and get Indigenous people together, which I know is happening, but we need more people to be aware of this, and immediately home in on the fraud of these pretending to be your government. They're pretending and lied, and on the back of it, we know all about the birth certificate fraud and all that. But ultimately, these absolute shower of you-know-whats have been defrauding the people by pretending to actually be your governments. And that is a huge crime in its own right. So Anna has discovered all this. She's put them all to task through the Chancery Court in the Vatican. So that has the power, as Anna has said, and the Pope ultimately has the power to actually close down any corporation, because they are the major shareholders in the British Crown, and the British Crown has 40% of the pie, of the overall pie, let's say, of the planet, and the Vatican has 60%. So there's 60% shareholders, and but they leave it all up to the British Crown Corporation, including the British Crown and all the various subsidiaries, to do all the nefarious bad things to the people, including using de facto businesses as alleging them as governments, and pretend and hoodwink the people into thinking they're a government. So that brings me to where Anna has decided to go. So she's got two paths to go. The overall path, which would open up the De Villa Family Trust assets, which has one of the largest of these 5,000 or so private family trusts that Anna has discovered. And majority of these trusts have assets that were supposed to be for the people. She homed in on the Villa for her own reasons, but one of the main reasons being it had so much assets, and it was the main these were the assets that funded these 60 powerful governments. So she got with Demetrius Julius Shiva, the heir to the trust, and the rest is history. She speaks about that on the notice, so I don't want to have to repeat old stuff. So she has the power and authority. He passed away, sadly, Julius, last year. She has the power as the global power of attorney on the land and soil, as fiduciary of the physical assets. And physical assets trump intangible assets. And lawful persons trump legal persons, and lawful trumps legal. So ultimately, it all boils down to, again, the jurisdiction that you stand on and where the assets lie, because you can only have physical assets inherited by, and land and the physical assets inherited by living souls, living men and women. So Anna has been focusing on that, but that is a mammoth task. Obviously, having all the governments, or the public governments in session that we have, is a big help. Obviously, having people reconveyed and all wonderful people putting in their claims. However, this is where I'm coming to, and this is where what I text Anna. I said, we really need to really make the people realize that you and we are the change. We can collectively bring about this change and fast track the deployment of the asset of the credit. And I said it last night. She's doing it on her own, and I know people will like. Well, a lot of people said, "Well, you want to help and all that," and that's absolutely wonderful. The best, as I said, the best way to help is get involved, support your public government through the local and national state assemblies. Get involved if you've got skills that you can bring. Fantastic. Help these governments to restore the four pillars, and that's this is the real vehicle to do it, because then the governments can have their courts operating, have their banks chartered, have the public services, and the security all in place, and they can really drive home and enforce the will of the people. When you really realize the power lies in the public governments, not the de facto, but the public. And because the will of the people is ultimately what drives the public government, and the will of the people is what brings about the real change. I've texted Anna and I said, look, we really need to get with the people and start really homing in on what they can do now to accelerate her incredible work, which is now split between recouping the assets that she has the natural. She is the last living descendant of and the heir to the Saint Germain Trust. So that's why she's putting out her own testimonies or dispositions, video testimony, very powerful, and they're going to all the various parties, all the various so-called authorities, from the Vatican, Rome, to all the other parties. So that's what she's doing, and in selfless efforts, she's doing that because she knows that the De Villa family trusts she's got three avenues there to get access to the assets in the De Villa family. You've got the Vatican, you've got the World Bank, and you've got the US private, they're called US private bank. Massive amount of assets held in trust by these parties that are part of the De Villa family trust assets. And Anna, being the global power of attorney, should have the authority. She has the authority to actually use these assets and say to the Vatican, hey, I want to use these assets are for the people. World Bank, these assets are for the people. US Private Inc., these assets are for the people. But they've been all blocking her. And the Vatican up to now has been blocking her. However, as Anna said to me, she was very excited last week when the International Criminal Court, that the investigations are really kicking on. And that includes investigating those parties who have mirrored Global Family Bank and trying to hoodwink people back into the system and making them believe that they have access, authority over money. They do not. It's all BS. You cannot have authority over money if A, you're not a living soul, and B, you're not a public government. You can't issue money. You can have authority. You can have your own physical assets, etc. But in terms of inheriting the land and physical assets, you need to be a living soul. But in order for the actual money to be then issued in terms of your currency, on an international, national level, and to have your banks to distribute and deploy that money, that's done through your public government. That's why she's doing everything from the lawful American government, American Federation of States. So the first thing you need to do is find out if you have public government being restored or in session through your state and local assemblies. As I mentioned earlier on, through a couple of bodies, especially the International Federation for the Alliance of Assemblies, known as INAC. That's one very important source. You can obviously go to The likes, well, you were able to go to the likes of Global Family Bank and Global Family Group, but we all know that's not where you go now. But you've got details on the Terra Australis State Assembly. You've got on Canada details. You've got also, of course, the main one in TASA in America. So these are all places you can find out where if you have who's the coordinator of your public government being restored. Because the more of us are aware of this and get educated and get involved in this, that's where we really bring about the change. So Anna's doing this because she believes this is the quickest way to actually deploy the credit. That's by going to get her wealth through the Saint Germain Trust, and that's why she's doing what she's doing, and that's a process. But that's where she feels will be the quickest way to deploy the credit. So all the assets that she's lawfully the heir to. She's doing these testimonies and depositions, etc. She's already recognised at the Vatican Chancery Court and across the board. And she's, as I said, been looking at going after the deployment of the Villa family trust assets because it's so significant and so massive. But the Saint Germain Trust and the assets is very, very substantial as well. So being the natural heir, that's what she's also dividing her time into. So that, as well as working on the De Villa Family Trust, but she's doing that by helping to take down the British Crown Corporation. So what can you all do? Apart from, as I said, start getting involved with your public governments that are being fully restored or in the process of being fully restored on your nation and your local through the local assemblies, nation state assemblies. They really are the vehicle, and there has to be a big push, because if we do this, and if you more of you get involved and start sharing your bit of time, volunteering, you don't have to put a huge amount of time. Even becoming a member of your assembly gives you an opportunity to vote for the important things that the people leading the way there are putting in place to build the 4 pillars. So being a member and even contributing in any way. I'm not talking about financially, monetary. I'm talking about just in terms of sharing of knowledge, sharing of a bit of volunteer time. Because also these are the real lawful governments that will be fully funded and through either the Villa Family Trust assets and the credit from same or the Saint Germain Trust. So they're the 2 main sources of assets that Anna has the authority to distribute and deploy the credit from. And they were supposed to be, well, the Villa Family Trust assets credit was already supposed to be deployed, but we all know that they didn't do that. So Anna is working on this in 2 ways. The massive way of taking down the British Crown, and she's doing this on a major level. But I have said to her, I said, it's now time for the people to stop focusing on what we don't have and focus on what we can do and what we're in control of. We're not in control of even what Anna's doing. She's doing incredible work, but she is only one woman. Yes, she has a team, and then there's the IT team building a very, very significant solution that, to be honest with you, will be so head and shoulders over what was there. I had a lot of questions over what was visible in terms of the Global Family Group or Global Family Bank website, for example. I never really saw the massive amount of work that looked like from those that are that develop front end stuff will know. It was very, very basic. I'd never seen the decentralized blockchain. Yes, that they believe that they were going to use the St. Crown Exchange for that, but there was major issues with that. So all in all, there wasn't a huge amount being done on the technology side because Hunter had control over that, and they were up to no good. So a lot of lessons have been learned from that. But the good news is there's been a contingency being built. It's not just back at square one and, oh my God, we have to build a whole new systems. No, that is not the case. So for the last maybe 9 months, maybe 9 months, there has been a system being built. Now this system admittedly was being built for the international assemblies through INAC, and big shout out to Mookie for working with the main coder on that. So that was going to help bring so many of we've nearly reached the capacity on this 300. That's unreal. So And sorry if anybody doesn't get in. We'll resend the recording. So big shout out to them in Terra Australis for working on this to actually help support and increase the number the support for the international assemblies. So we needed something like this, and that includes our own secure communications, our own video, our own chat, our own social media, our own, also looking at our own land recording system. So all this has been going on in the background, and to be honest with you, it's an absolute blessing, obviously, that it is. And since then, and since everything was discovered and came out in the open, with the technical team in the American Federation, led by Shannon and some brilliant security system specialists who have all of the knowledge about security. They are turning our system now into the most secure system, not just for the assemblies, but actually for you. So when you have your own account, your account will be as secure as literally like a Navy-esque military secure system. And the idea is that everybody, no matter where you are, you will have your own, you'll be connected to the international network, but you'll also be connected to your local network through your local governments and local assemblies, and you'll be securely connected there. You will have access to everything on a local level. We're looking at this being on your own new special secure devices. I can't go into too much more detail about that, but your own special devices on a local level, and also on regarding your government, your public government through your assemblies, you'll be able to connect with the public government system completely safely. You'll be able to connect with the public banks that are being chartered in each of the nations, and you'll also be able to connect internationally, especially at the beginning, with the new global bank. It's not going to be called Global Family Bank. We're going to move away from giving those charlatans any more airtime by using that name, but it will be a new name, and you will be also able to connect initially to that system. So your data that you physically saw will be on the new system. It will be much more user friendly. You will be able to get the best level of training. Land recorders will be involved, but it'll be done properly. Loads of people that came forward to be land recorders, new ones, but this will all be done right. And all the delays that happened before, really the main reason, not the only reason, but the main reason was what was going on, sadly, by the nefarious people behind the scenes. So look, it's better that it's come out, but we are not starting from scratch. But we have the brilliant security and systems team. We've got brilliant coders. We've got brilliant designers, UX, UI people. We've got brilliant integration specialists and quality assurance specialists. So it's in really, really good hands. And these other gangsters, and I'm going to call them gangsters because that's what they are, trying to rip people off and still deceive people. These other gangsters can say all they want. Ultimately, the cream rises to the top, and the you know what to the bottom. So you are here because you are on the right side, folks. You are on the right side between good and evil. And don't be fooled by the fluffy talk that you hear from other parties. That is fluffy talk to hoodwink you in, or else they're just chemically something wrong with their brain. I think it's a bit of both. And aside from that, what else can you do? So Anna talked last night about bringing Indigenous claims. She talked about the British Isles, which is obviously where we're not British, but even we're all under British Crown Corporation but control, or we all have been. But my own nation is obviously a part of this. So it's a very, very important notice that you should all read. It's today's the latest one. I don't know if it's the last one, but it's very important what she puts out. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working really closely together with the international assemblies, all of the coordinators, everyone. And as a community, we're going to start giving you specific things to do, and that includes claims not only for your own nation, in terms of you being an Indigenous national on the land and soil, getting involved in your public governments, putting in claims to the Vatican Chancery Court, what Anna did, which will only add great weight and great support as she looks to put the final nail really in the coffin. I say that loosely, of the Vatican, of the Vatican Corporation, the British Crown, but ultimately to help her to get the credit deployed from the Saint Germain Trust assets, which she is the last living descendant. So don't let anybody be fooled that Anna doesn't have this, that, and the other. She's actually the last living descendant. It's like if you're an heir to an estate, she's the heir to an incredibly powerful and wealthy private family trust as a descendant, an actual descendant. So she's the last living heir to this, and she's already spoken about this. She's not the heir to the Villa family trust, but she has the highest authority as as global power of attorney, fiduciary on the land and soil of the assets. Nobody else has a higher authority of her to actually put these assets to the use that they're supposed to be. Obviously, that is she's decided to look at and not decided. This has been a while to actually go and look at taking down the British Crown Corporation. But as she said, the power now comes with us. So there's going to be a step-by-step. You don't have to do all these steps, but a step-by-step process to show what you can all do, not only for within your own local community, but join your own local assembly, joining your national assembly, state assembly, volunteering if you can, or else just getting involved as a member, putting your own Indigenous claims in as a collective also. Putting your claims into the Vatican Chancery Court. So basically doing what Anna's doing or has done. And I've said this to her, we need to get people on board to do this. And of course, there's all the other stuff that people can be doing. I put this out the other day. It might have surprised some people. I saw a few little emojis when I said I was going to run some talks about helping people to generate, let's just call it loosely, money now while they're struggling. There are ways and means of doing that. Some of the most successful people, I say successful, and we call them wealthy, but anyway, people they dropped out of school, they didn't have even capital, they didn't have a golden nest egg handed down to them from family. They started with little or nothing, but they just discovered how the we call them the rich and powerful made their own lives and made wealth. So for those that are really struggling, there are ways that you can actually do this by using your own labor, your own skills, your own passion, and your ability to actually join together with other people. So and using the power of the internet, using the power of community, and using the need for growing your own foods, having your own clean water, all of these things, sharing knowledge, etc. So I'm going to be running talks about this because this will help people in the interim to realize that there are many ways that they can actually use their own skills, passions, and talents, and ultimately their labor, and use the technology that's there to start bringing in. Yes, it's not it's not where we want people to be putting their time in terms of bringing in fiat and that, but I do recognize, and Anna does recognize, that people are really struggling. So for those that were questioning, that's the whole purpose. I don't want to be spending much time on that because we want to get people doing the lawful end of things, getting themselves returned to the land and soil, part of their local assembly, being part of their public governments, which is really where is the vehicle to bring about change. So there's going to be, just in summary, Anna's working on two paths. One is the Saint Germain Trust to get her own wealth access, to get the assets deployed, dealing with the Vatican on that, and those assets can be deployed through the new systems that were being built. Now, I haven't discussed or haven't talked to the IT team or Shannon in terms of how that could be done without the whole system being built. Or not being built, sorry, the finishing components being done, and there's a lot done already. So maybe there's other ways that the assets and the credit from the Saint Germain can be deployed without waiting for the remaining components of the systems being built. I don't know that. We'll have to find that out. But in the meantime, that's what she's looking at and focusing on, as well as the overall let's say, plan or agenda to collapse the British Crown Corporation, because they are so crucial in the grander scheme of things. You collapse the British Crown Corporation, you collapse the corporate governments, you collapse the corporate banks, commercial banks, you collapse the Bank of International Settlement, all these three-letter gangster organizations pretending to be humanitarian organizations like WEF, and United Nations and WHO and all these. They all collapse like a deck of cards. And Anna knows exactly what she's doing. Admittedly, of course, there's been many a roadblock, but I've come to the conclusion, and I've said it to her, that after last night, now is the time to really get the people aware of what's happening and what's being done, and now to actually get a step-by-step instructions on what they want to, and how, not instructions, but steps that you can take to help speed up and support Anna's work through the San Germain deployment of assets and credit, and through the Davila, her work, and through the Davila Family Trust deployment of assets, and the overall campaign to bring down the British Crown Corporation, because the courts collapsed, I forgot about that, very important, the commercial courts collapse, etc. And this opens the pathway for the lawful governments, the lawful courts, the lawful banks, the people, the living people, to take inherit the land and the physical assets. So I hope that's given you a bit more clarity. I can't really say much more on the technical side, but some really fascinating technology that's being built. We're going decentralized. We're not going to be waiting for anybody. We're going decentralized. So for anybody that doesn't understand decentralization puts the community in charge of whatever it is is the assets or that are in that community. So it's the community, the people that have a responsibility. When you create a decentralized community through what's known as blockchain, for those that aren't aware, that's the ultimate technology that was created, decentralized technology, so that instead of having a centralized pyramid, where you have a few people or a few computers or one massive computer or one dictator or a handful of people, that the whole world has been under centralized power. So you've got this pyramid, and the people are all at the bottom, whereas the people should be at the top. Well, they should be basically all over. And the hierarchy should be: you have God, you have living man, living woman, you have the living man, living woman, and then if you have constitutions, you have constitution under that. Then you have the government, and the governments obviously should be the lawful governments, not the de facto. But the lawful governments are legal commercial governments, corporations, and they have stood above living man and living woman, because the living man and living woman haven't actually reconveyed, or they're not on the land and soil, so they're underneath these legal corporate governments. And they become God. They try and disconnect our connection with God. They become God, and so they try and make it out that they all believe in. They're all pushing, whatever religion it is. Obviously, they're using religion as well to divide. So we have to turn that pyramid in the correct way, and decentralization helps you to do that. And decentralized blockchain technology, it's immutable. You can't destroy the information in it. You can't change it unless it's got the agreement of the community. So we are going the decentralized model, and that's much more secure. Instead of one computer, for example, you'll have what's called nodes. You'll have many computers holding all the data and communicating and transferring data. So it's virtually impossible for a hacker or for anybody to try and do anything with it, because they're all connected to a worldwide network of computers, are also known as nodes. So that's the fundamentals of blockchain. And within that blockchain, you have decentralized communities. So there's no pyramid community, you have decentralized communities. So that's at the heart of our system. Hunter kept saying to me at the beginning, and we used to have meetings I used to host meetings with Hunter and his team, and Anna, sometimes with Hunter or separate, through the INAC International Network of Assembly Federation or Alliance. And but that's just stopped. But anyway, later on he said, oh yeah, we got our own decentralized blockchain. Now, I've actually created a blockchain in the past. And well, I didn't create it, but I had a team, so I learned a lot about that. And I always asked for the white paper or details of the decentralized blockchain. Never given really much information, and so that was obviously a red flag. And but we have our technology, our banking, our technology, our public government systems, the land recording system, your data, all of the communications, the social media will be on a decentralized servers. You will have your own decentralized community in your respective nations and your respective local assemblies. So there's no one person controlling anything, and there's not a few controlling the many. That's the benefit of decentralization, and it keeps the data secure. And if there is any changes that are needed, it has to get the go ahead of the community. We're also, as Anna said, open source. For those that are not familiar, I just recommend you just have the open source moves away from, again, the centralized control of the Microsofts, of the Dells, the IBMs, the Cisco's, and all these big Googles and YouTube and all that. So they all want centralized control where they control the people and they control them to their own powerful centralized servers and data centers. They're all centralized. And so open source opens it up to the people. It's more secure. We can bring our own developers in to contribute in open source technology to help us to keep developing our technology and improving it. So we're using open source. We're using some of the most latest incredible hardware as well that we're currently looking at and testing, and so that everybody will be able to secure their own data privately. I beg your pardon. Their data will be the privacy will be protected. So a very important thing that obviously the centralized corporations do not want. So this is going to mean your data is completely secure, but you'll have access to your data securely. If you're obviously part of your local assembly and public governments there and national governments, well, then you'll be connected to the systems securely, and whether that be for your land records or to the banking or communications or whatever it is. So that will be all autonomous. It'll be independent, but we're all going to be connected to an international network, a secure international network, so we can all communicate together securely. Ireland can communicate with America. Germany can communicate securely with Terra Australis, and so forth. And we can all communicate and transfer data, and we can use the incredible services and technology that are there to even rapidly get a public government or assembly called into session, with their own site, their own website, their own system. But it'll all be interconnected on decentralized networks, and it'll be completely secure because the people we have are the best in the business in terms of security. So that's all I really want to say on that front. I am going to probably do something a bit silly now and open it to the floor, because there are going to be some things I can't say and some questions I can't answer. But I do hope that's brought some transparency. We already hit 300, and it's just dropped down a bit, but that's fantastic. So in summary, we're going to get I'm going to talk to the international, to Mookie and the rest, and INAC and the others. We're going to get some step-by-steps that people can do through their respective public governments, i.e. their assemblies. But we really need people to start getting involved, because this is how we really turn things around. And Anna has said it enough. Get involved in your assembly, build your assembly, get organized, return to the land and soil where you're supposed to be. Where you're always, since God created and gave us life, and our mother and fathers, and our zygote, the spark of the zygote just was created. Since then, ultimately we are living, breathing. Well, obviously when we're born, living, breathing souls, are living, breathing souls, and we have to actually. The only where you can be recognized by that is when you stand on the land and soil. So that's the purpose of reconveying or conveying to the land and soil, that you're standing on the jurisdiction that you're supposed to stand, and the public governments are what protects you on a local and national level. So without their protection, without you doing the reconveyance and doing your status correction. It's not enough just to do your status correction. I know a lot of people have done it just to get their credit. You're missing a trick here, folks. Even with the credit, if you don't have your local or public national public government, you're not involved, you're not helping it. The de facto corporations can still railroad you, and they can still do what they're doing, but they will not be able to do it if you are assembling together with your fellow living men and living women and getting part of your assembly, voting on the things that need to be voted on, elections, stepping forward and volunteering and everything else. Because it's the real governments, the public governments are the ones that are the vehicle to bring about change. So I'm opening this up to people now if you want to raise your hand and ask some questions. I have to then see, bear with me 1 second. I have to see who wants to ask. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, we've got a few hands up here. Stephen, Mercy, Dorothea. Okay, I'll just go in order as I see it. Allowed to talk. Stephen, off you go.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Hello. Oh. Yeah, just a quick question about the, remember we got an article about the AFD being backed by audited gold, the 2 trillion. So where's that come from? That information, I don't understand, because we were told that gold had been audited and was already backing that currency. Now we're being told it's not. I'm just a bit confused. Thanks.
Well, yeah, okay, it's a fair, good question. I'll just lower your hand if you don't mind.
Sorry.
Okay. No, that's
I'll
all
lower
right.
It now. There we go.
No worries. Yeah, so yes, I was informed of that before as well. I had a group of business people who asked a bunch of questions a couple of years ago, and they were willing to. Maybe not a couple of years ago, 1.5 years, and they were willing to step forward. They were very aware of obviously the benefits of holding physical assets against fiat currency. So they were interested in helping, to maybe get some liquidity from the AFD credit or the AFD assets for people to then use fiat. So one of the questions that came up was that. So and it was answered by Anna, as she always does. She answered as honestly as possible, saying that there was 3 trillion in gold that was audited. The only place that could be, there's only 2 places that Anna, as I said, would be referring to in terms of the sources of the gold, and that's the Villa family trust, as I said, and the Saint Germain trust. So it was my understanding that it was the Villa family trust assets that she had recouped and managed to recoup and deploy into the American Treasury. And it was through the lawful American Treasury where the audit was done. And there was 3 trillion that was audited and confirmed. Now, I haven't seen the actual documentation for that, but Anna put it in writing and shared it with these business people. So I know she will not say something and put her name to it unless it's true. But to answer your question, Stephen, I haven't seen the audited documents, but it is a good question because it's come up before, and I'll ask her as well for an update on that.
Because once we get the new, if it's still AFD or whatever, is that gold still plausible? Because now it seems like that we're having to go and get the assets to back this new system, or am I missing something?
No. It's so the AFD was created because they needed a lawful currency to then create the prepaid credit from. If you look at it like just a process. So on one end you have the physical assets, which is the gold, silver, and all these precious metals and all the other assets that are within the De Villa family trust and the Saint Germain. So Anna has lawful authority, as I've explained, over them. Yep. But in order to turn those physical assets into currency and into, make them liquid so that the people can use them in the form of credit, she needed to have a lawful currency, which was the American Federation dollar, which was backed by the gold. And then you had the heritage dollar, which was backed by the silver. So they created credit off the back of the lawful gold, the physical gold and silver in the De Villa family trust. And it's mainly from the De Villa family trust, but also now I'm going to be talking to Anna in relation to her getting an update on the Saint Germain assets and seeing is the American Federation dollar also linked to the gold and silver in that trust. And so this was actually a relevant question that you've asked, because this is a question I wanted to ask in terms of the AFD. So the AFD is still an absolutely viable lawful currency. They have tried to, I say Hunter, etc., trying to use that, and they're trying to create a new term and a new name off the back of that. But everything is the same. The American Federation dollar is the same. The only change that's going to be is the bank, the publicly chartered bank that's distributing and deploying that. It's not going to be Global Family Bank. So we'll still have you'll still see AFD credit when in the new system. You will still see the deployment. Anyone, this is, although Anna, I haven't spoken about this, I'm absolutely certain this will be the case. Whatever credit you had, or whatever it was, you will have that in your accounts. Now, what I also am speaking to Anna about, because those that have reconveyed and done their status corrected paperwork, if they've had it, obviously there will be a date that they were witnessed and notarized or witnessed, and and a lot of people had uploaded documents with GFG, and they were waiting ages because GFG, as it turns out, were up to no good. So and they didn't have their own people, weren't employing their own people to do the land recording. Yes, they were using volunteers who were doing incredible work, but this was all a muse and a ruse. So, but anyway, I'm digressing and drifting off. But in summary, Stephen, there is a year and a half ago, and I haven't spoken about this since, but I will. A year and a half ago, there was 3 trillion, maybe less, maybe a year and 14 months, 3 trillion in gold that was audited, and that was audited through the Villa Family Trust. I'm not sure exactly whether that was through the US private bank or the World Bank or the Vatican, but it was definitely audited because Anna put it in writing. So I'll look into that, and I'll ask and see if there's any other new information about that. And then the AFD will be exactly the same. And where I'm going to be asking Anna and the technical team, that we're going to make sure that anybody that is reconveyed and that was set up on the previous system, the Global Family Bank system, will have their full allocation deployment based on when their documents were uploaded. So that's what I'm going to talk to her about. I hope that answers your question, Stephen.
So it's basically the gold needs to go on ledger, doesn't it? On a blockchain ledger.
Blockchain ledger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do you. Okay, good man. Well, actually, Stephen, can you DM me, please? I want to talk to you if you know about DeFi and all that.
I'm not a technical guy, but I've been in the markets for a long time, so I understand a bit about it. But yeah, I'll speak to you direct, Tony. Thanks for everyone. Thanks for the answer to the question.
Thanks, Stephen.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Dorothea, hello, Dorothea. Off you go. Dorothea, what's the question?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Dorothea, off you go. How are you?
Hi to you. I have a question regarding the assemblies.
Yep.
Okay, so we are, as you know, the Africa States Assembly. Also, we have been pushing a movement of sovereignty, like all of us are. Here is my question regarding to that. We have been helping a lot of people right across Africa, but like you said, there is now the status correction, which is the declaration with the witnesses. But at this point, we are trying to get everybody to fully emancipate, meaning to get them declared in the fullness, not just with a declaration and a witness form. Don't take me wrong, but I think that is important to fully emancipate, to have full standing. That's what we've been trying to do, and not just let them get stuck on a declaration with the witness forms. My question regarding that is that going to be a way forward, maybe that can help, is to get the people rather fully emancipated and not just getting stuck at the declaration with the witnesses? That's my first question. My second question is, what's going to happen with those that did, like some assemblies, did credential cards with the global seal on? I'm not referring to our assembly because we have never printed any credential cards as of today. In the fullness, we are on record. We have not printed a credential card to anyone yet. But what will happen to the people that has done that step and did credential cards with, let's say, the South Africa Assembly group here, and they had the seal of the global family on there? Isn't it going to be maybe in future a good thing to just see that you have your assembly seal maybe on, and maybe a common law court if you have one, those on, then to have a bank seal on there. And it will in future prevent having to do a redo with your credential card.
Okay, Dorothy, I'm going to answer the second one a bit quicker. The second one first. So yes, the global family seal has to be basically revoked. So that basically means that the actual cards have to be redone. But decisions haven't been made yet in relation to the use of physical cards as opposed to digital. So, but right now, definitely, I'm not sure if Anna has done it. I'm pretty sure, knowing Anna, she has already revoked the global family. She would have had to have done that. So, the global family seal would have had to have been revoked from the credentials card. So, yes, they are basically null and void because they can't be used for that purpose. So they are. That's obviously a headache because you've got assemblies like I don't know how many numbers you've had, but the assemblies with 4, 5, 600, and even more cards that have been actually produced. So it is a bit of a headache, but it's been looked at. Anna hasn't made any decisions yet as to regards, not that I'm aware of, as how that's going to work. But for sure, the seal has been, I'm pretty sure, has already been revoked, and but a decision hasn't been made as to what solution is going to be put in place to fast track the reproduction of the new cards, and or through the digital, through our own new technology in the form of digital cards. But we do recognise that people prefer to have physical cards. So I still believe that that's going to happen, but no decisions have been made. And in relation to the assemblies, for sure, it is always better to have your full armor on than having just a helmet. So in any battle, and you're in a battle when you're dealing with the British Crown Corporation and the Vatican Corporation, all those, etc. There's Terra Australis. I know you just mentioned as well. Really, and other assemblies really stand by the need for having full 928s, as it's called. It is complicated, as you will admit. There's a lot of people are kind of often kind of feeling it's a bit of a turn off when they see what has to be done, but at the same time they're being told, well, it's taken a long time to actually to get into this mess, and it needs to be kind of fixed, and as a result you need to be able to record all these declarations. And that's why, in order to have that full authority and to stand on the land and soil, fully reconveyed is always better than doing the basic. However, as Anna has said, the more we actually get our public governments and members and people joining and being a part and returning to the land and soil, sooner rather than later, we won't need the full 928. But for the moment, it is still recommended. Well, I won't say it's recommended, but in many assemblies, they do push forward, and it makes more sense to have full armor, as I said, than partial armor. And I know there's just on the South African, let's just say, call it overall African assemblies. It's obviously there's been a lot going on there. So, and you may have seen a call out to all the leaders. So I spoke to Anna about this. We've been talking to some brilliant meetings with one or two organizations, not assemblies, but now the plan is actually to talk to those assemblies, including your own, including others that are still lawfully operating or claim to be lawfully operating and legitimate. So we're going to speak to them. Anna will be on those calls to figure out again who's who and what's what, because you can't have two masters, as you know, on the land. Dorothy, you can only have one public government, one. So we have to get to the bottom of that. Otherwise, people are going to continue to get to be confused and uncertain, and it still doesn't take away the great work that assemblies are doing in terms of helping people to return to the land and soil, and that's going to benefit in the long run. But all that groundwork is going to benefit, but we do need to get together to figure out who's who and see if people can align together. It's not going to be easy, but it has to happen sooner rather than later. So we'll get you. You're going to be contacted, Dorothy, about with a call with Anna if you're okay with that.
With that, and then like I said, I want to know. I know there was a time when Aniti was building a kind of recording office for paperwork with land deeds, and so. Do you have any information regarding that? Is that site up and going, and is it available for African Dataway as well already or not? Do you have information about it?
No, I got a text from her actually in relation to kind of Africa and what she's been having meetings, etc. But I haven't. I've only spoken to Nitty once in a couple of times because she was very sick, as you probably know. So for a while, and she went to also went to see Anna, and she was meant to go away on holidays with her family. So I haven't spoken to her. So no, I don't know. All I know is she has said that she's been doing a good bit of work behind the scenes through her own podcast. So I will ask her actually because she was asking for some recordings, so I'll ask her.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks. Okay, no more hands. Lovely. Although there's still a fair few people in here, I'm going to share this recording. I'm going to speak to Anna. Got some good questions there asked, and I hope this has brought some clarity. If there's any more clarity needed, we might have another one, but. And do recognize that that's what Anna is focused on. Do recognize that there's going to be steps now that everybody can do to help assist Anna in her absolute life mission to help give the people back what is theirs. And in this case, it's through the deployment of the credit from two of the wealthiest, most substantial private family trusts, where there's mountains of assets that is meant to be for the people. And she's fought tooth and nail, and she will continue to fight tooth and nail. But while she's doing that, there are things we can do. So steps to follow will be communicated both directly through Tony Talks and Olive Branch, but really through your local and national assemblies. So they're the first port of call to go to. If you don't have one, you'll also see the steps on the Tony Talks platform. So any other questions? Mercy, your hand is still up. Do you want to one more go before I lower your hand? So I have allowed you to talk. Okay, no problem. All right. If there's no more questions, folks, thank you very much for your time. And I shall follow up with the recording and with Anna with those questions. Sorry, I'm just seeing, is there any more attendees here that... I'm sorry, I'd seen if I missed any other hands. Oh, okay. Bear me a second. I'm just having a quick look at the Q&A here. Okay, so some more comments than questions. All right, I think I'm sorry if people didn't hear. Apologies. And let me see if I don't see anywhere is the. Sorry, 1 second. I don't see any other hands. Oh, I do. Sorry, Martina. My apologies. Okay, go ahead, Martina.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yes, hello, Tony. So I'm Martina. I'm living in South Africa, but I'm German. But I would like to ask you, please, to talk to Louis, because we are in really close contact and he has a lot to contribute. You must talk to him, please.
No problem. Which assembly are you in?
I'm not in any assembly at the moment.
All right. Now you said a chair. I thought you were a chair of an assembly.
No, I'm German living in South Africa.
Oh, sorry, you said German. My apologies, not chair. Sorry about that. Okay, alles klar, Martina. Thank you. I will talk to Louis. Thank you. Bye. Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Off you go.
Sure, thank you. Just a very quick question. You mentioned the AFD that is backed by gold, and the heritage dollar is backed by silver.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking this specific question with this new global family group, they've now changed from AFD to GHD, and they give it the same value as the AFD, which means the 10th of the gold price. Is this now the same thing? Because I think a lot of people can be fooled by that.
Absolutely. Look, it's been this. Anna's kind of answered this in her own way through the international notices, through the Q&A. So I will be sending the part 2 recording, and people will also see the part 1 recording on Tony's Talk channel. So she does talk about this and what they're doing, but in in summary, I go back to what I said at the beginning. These people were using Anna's authority as the fiduciary over massive amounts of physical gold and assets through the two main trusts, private family trust, the Villa family and Saint Germain. So they were using Anna's authority, otherwise they wouldn't have been hanging around. And once they realized at the end of the day they couldn't do what they wanted to do and they weren't waiting around, they went off and just created a clone. And what Adrian has been doing has been reclaiming and recouping physical assets. Sorry, not physical. Let's retract that completely. He's been he has been recouping fiat currency or fiat assets, and so fiat assets have to be backed by lawful physical assets, and so they have no more now. Can they actually say that they're? And as I said, it's only living men and women can inherit land and the physical assets, and it's only a lawful government, lawful public government, which we have 170 nations around the world who are restoring their lawful governments. It's only the lawful government that can actually issue physical money. You can't actually have a derivative of physical money without the physical having the authority on the physical money in the first place. So what they're doing is they're just trying to hoodwink the people. They had to change the name from AFD to whatever they call it, GHT or GHD. So that's because they know they can't use AFD because that's the legit lawful currency. So they've created a legal fiction, a legal currency, which is not lawful. They've created a legal currency, which again is just going back into the old system. They're saying that they have that it's backed by gold, but you can't back something by gold unless you have the authority over the gold, and you can't back and you can't issue any money off gold or any physical assets unless you are a lawful government. They can't be a lawful government. They're not a lawful government. Well, first things first, going to work, they're a corporation that have been involved in it. Now, I got something very significant earlier on, which proves that they realized that they're in a lot of hot water in what they're doing, and they're trying to save face. And I can't reveal any more because that's gone to Anna first for review. But what they're trying to do is just create they don't have the authority as a lawful government. No corporation, no incorporated entity can be a public lawful government. Only the people and on the land and soil can create lawful living reconveyed men and women can create a lawful government, and only the lawful government, the public government, can issue money, and the money needs to be off the back. They can issue credit off the gold. They can issue whatever other derivatives off the gold, but you have to have the physical gold, and you have to have the authority over the gold, and you have to be a lawful government to then issue money from that. So what the others are doing, they're not a lawful government. They haven't chartered and therefore been able to charter a bank, and the bank will deploy and issue the money on behalf of the government and the people. So they don't have a lawful bank. They don't have a lawful government. They don't have any authority over the physical assets. So therefore, anything they're doing is simply doing things on the legal side and the commercial side. So in summary, they have Kevin. Sorry, I was just remembering the name. In summary, Kevin, they are bringing people back into the legal system and making them believe that they have the authority of this currency backed by gold. Ask them for proof of. Ask any of them for proof and evidence that they have authority over the physical assets. Ask them, are they a lawful government? Are they reconveyed to actually inherit any of these physical assets? But first and foremost, in order to issue money, they have to be a lawful government, and they have to have authority over the physical assets. If they don't have that, they're hoodwinking you and bringing you back into the legal commercial system, and trying to make you believe that they're able to issue money and they can't. So, Kevin, does that answer your question?
Thank you so much, Tony. Now it made it very clear, and I can then share with other people as well as to what they are letting themselves in for if they go ahead with this. Thank you so much.
No problem, Kevin. Thanks. Next, Stephen, how are you? Can you hear me, Stephen? Or can you? You're open now. What's the
Yeah, I
crack?
have it now. I actually forget the questions when I asked them because I was listening.
Did it. You're over it. Countdown's over.
Yeah,
And,
got it now. Got it now. Right. Anna was saying the other night, if someone agreed to the terms and conditions, they would have to redo the paperwork. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. On Eru, has Michael got the site sorted for doing that?
No, we'll have to have a chat. We're gonna have to have a chat about that. I haven't. That was the first I heard about having to like I wasn't aware of that, to be honest with you. But Anna, it wasn't was a surprise, and then it wasn't a surprise. So I do need to speak to her about that because that's going to cause obviously a headache for people. Whereas but at the same time, she's probably correct in the sense that if they've done this and if they've got their paperwork in there, they're basically when you, as you know, a lot of people don't read the fine print, and this is all a trick to bring them back into the old system. So I can see what she means in terms of having to redo the paperwork, but which is a headache. So number one, to answer your question, we absolutely don't have like I believe the website set up for that yet, and we need to. So we'll get together on Monday for that. And secondly, yeah, I'm going to speak to Anna about this and see if there is any other way of doing it instead of people having to do the whole paperwork again.
Yeah, it's just a few of the guys were asking me today about, but some were in the process of doing their paperwork and waiting for it to be accepted, and some had it done and accepted the terms by mistake.
I know there's a lot of people just click it and that it's a natural thing and just to move on to but it's just they're using bots as well and all to do it. But I emphasize I heard something very, very significant and in relation to going to work who are trying to get out of jail here at the moment. So that shows, but Anna's looking over that information and hopefully she'll be able to put a notice out, and that could actually change a lot in relation to what people have been tricked into. Yeah, well, I'll see what Anna's going to do about that, and I'll post about it. But we'll get together, Stephen, on Monday. Thanks.
Okay, cheers. Thanks.
Cheers, bye. I think Maxine was next, and I see Caroline just because of jumped in there. Hiya, Maxine.
Hi, Tony. I hope you're doing well.
Yes, you too.
Can you hear me? Okay. On the 10th of September 2024, we organized a meeting with Anna, yourself, Mookie, and Kinesis, Chris from Kinesis. And I've asked this question numerous times, and nobody could answer me. And we know that we have to straddle the whole system to get things liquid. And the only requirement was that send some gold, little bit of gold, and we will turn it liquid immediately. And Anna went back to Hunter, and Hunter obviously said no. He didn't even attend the meeting, as you can remember. I think you still got the recording. And they were willing to help us with our whole mission to go liquid. And they're the first company to do that with the same mission, but still with a 1 foot in that system. So everything is legal, but they could actually assist us. And I've been asking this question many times. Would you look at that again? What is happening with that? Really, I honestly want to know.
Well, do you know what? I'm absolutely delighted you've asked that question because I was looking for their details. I couldn't remember who actually introduced it. Now I remember it was you because it's obviously a bit ago. But I do remember because I'm looking into a few options, including another potential option for us. They're called the Global Gold Monetary Fund. So yes, we're looking at it and was introduced to another potential option here. As Anna said last night, if you might recall, she said, look, we're open and looking at a number of options. Although she's going down those two main paths, I was actually trying to find my emails of the name of that organization. I remember then, now it was you. So yes, please, Maxine, please, let's talk tomorrow about that because we want to get in touch with him.
Thank goodness, because they can actually assist.
Yeah.
And that was the 10th of September 2024. And Hunter said no.
Of course, and yeah. You know now why he said no.
Was the answer. They could actually turn it into liquidity within a few seconds. and build this whole community for us. And they were
Yeah,
very open to it. And
yeah, I
Hunter
know.
was the only one that said no.
Yeah, he didn't know. He Anna's always open to at least discussions. I always found that, but when it comes to the banking and all that, she had to always get his okay. But now, obviously, we have an idea why all these potential options were shut down. So I'm absolutely delighted, Maxine. You remind me that I was looking for the previous communication. So yes, tomorrow, please message me, and we'll get on the call and get a call with that I remember. Vaguely, but
Chris.
vividly, actually, and then we can we'll get the systems guys on the call, technical guys. We got Anna and the new banking team. So fair play to you. Thanks, Maxine.
Well, thanks. Thanks, Tony.
No
Appreciate it.
worries. Okay, if I've skipped somebody, Merle, you were there for a while, so I'm going to jump to you and allow you to talk there. Just hit the button. How are you?
Hi, Tony. I'm fine, thank you. Hi, everybody. I've received another payment from GFG on Tuesday. Where does it go if the account is no longer there?
Well, the accounts are there, all right, but they're not on our system, and they have controlled. They very cleverly created GFG and branded GFG left, right, and centre. It should have been GFB, if it's Global Family Bank, but they were just creating a clone which was under GFG. So unfortunately, we were all sucked into it, even Anna, and so anything that's in there now, number one, the bank that was chartered to own the data, own the credits, own the deployment of the credits, and any, let's call it, intellectual property and trademarks and all that. That's actually, that charter has been ripped up, so they can't do anything with that. But they are simply trying to copy and continue, make it look like this is still the Global Family Bank.
Okay.
So anything on that system, Merle, do not worry about all the credit. It's all the data has been migrated over onto the new system. We're just working on it, putting the components together. So you'll see exactly what you saw, but we really highly emphasize that people should have no dealings whatsoever with GFG.
Oh, no, I don't. I mean, once I looked and realized the account, and they're asking you to tick things to consent, and obviously I'm keeping up with everything, so I know to do it. But obviously I took a screenshot of what was in my account before it all went collapsed, because I for more than 3 odd years. And so when another payment came through the other day, I thought, well, where is it going to go?
Yeah. It's literally, it's in space, and really that's all it is. They don't have any lawful assets to back it. They're trying to make it out that they do, but this was their plan all along, was to divide and conquer and create their own mirror.
No, but my question is, will that 528 go into where you guys have moved my account to, or how?
Of course, yes. Yeah, everything is going to be, everything was migrated. So anybody that had what they had before is simply migrated over. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. Carolise, I'm sorry if I've skipped to Boho, Rafa, and High Commissioner Bradley.
Hi, Tony. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Carolise, sorry.
Yes. What I heard from all the conversations is there's a possibility that we have to redo all our documents. Is that correct?
Well, that's what Anna said last night, but I'm going to speak to her about that, because obviously that's easier said than done. If people have, now that's only for those that have consented with the new bots and the new consent with Global Family Group, which was just another way of hoodwinking people back into the old system. But it was the first I heard of it last night from Anna, so I will speak to her and see what we can do to be able to save people having to go and do their whole paperwork again.
And then the other thing that I would like to know is there's so many assemblies and groups and things in South Africa. Yeah. Which one is the national state assembly in South Africa to join?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what we're getting to. There's some legitimate ones, seem very, very legitimate on the face of it. They've been around a while. So we have calls that are being organized to speak to them and to see who's who and what's what. At the moment, there seems to be just a few well, it seems to be legitimate ones that are going and operating. There could be more, but yeah, we'll find out very soon, Carol-Louise, and we will through the international network of INAC and then through Anna's international public notice, and then relayed through myself, we'll let you know and let everybody know.
Please, because I have so many people, so many groups on hold.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine, yes.
For Anna.
Yeah,
we're waiting for Anna.
No, that will be really soon. We'll know. We'll know.
Thank you so much. I
No problem.
Hi, Tony, can I speak?
Tony.
Yeah, I think you're jumping ahead. I think I want to give is that Rafa or High Commissioner?
High Commissioner Bradley.
Go ahead.
Hi, Tony.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for the Zoom, for all the information. My understanding is that the most instructions or methods comes like as a handbook directly from Anna, right, to all the assemblies in South Africa. However, I also found that there's been a battle amongst the assemblies and it is so interesting that Carol-Louise raised that point. Which assembly is the
national
assembly representing South Africa? Because we have so many different assemblies, and then there's the infight. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Talking about the emancipation, right? Many of our people did that via the assemblies. All those long documents, some were posted to different departments of state. My only concern about that is none of these people, including myself, have a physical proof, a letter stating that this is your proof that you have been emancipated from has been emancipated from the state, meaning that we, according to what I feel and understand, is that we have missed something. Something is missing here, because there must, when you take a major step like that to emancipate, government itself should give you that proof. No one have that proof. So we can walk all over the place and say, no, I'm emancipated. You are not emancipated if you don't have a proof. And you mentioned about, unfortunately, I have to go there. You have to, you mentioned about Go New Earth, the corporation. But just over a year ago, Tony, you hosted with Anna a Zoom where Riley from one of the assemblies, he posed that question directly to Anna. And at that time, Anna acknowledged that she knows of the existence of Judge Van Ifonse and Go New Earth. Can you remember that Zoom?
I can. It's very hard to remember all the Zooms I've been on, but I vaguely do.
You do, because Riley were very, very persistent and adamant that Go New Earth is a corporation, and how does that fit in? My question now, going back to then, he posed that question directly to Anna. Why didn't Anna at that time said how she feel about Go New Earth at the time? So if she at that time would have said, no, we can't work, because you just a few minutes ago you mentioned that the corporation or an LTD Limited is working directly with the fiat system. You just mentioned it now. So Anna automatically knew it then. Back then, how come she didn't talk about it? Thank you so much.
Well, yeah. Obviously, hindsight's a very, very easy thing to talk about things, but at the time, I didn't even know too much about what was going on. I had I set up the international network for assemblies to bring the coordinators together, and then Mookie has really been the main shining light driving that forward. So, but when I got it set up, I did it to bring together the assemblies. So I had a responsibility to keep my finger on the pulse and keep try and help whenever I could. But I took a backseat from hosting the webinars with international assemblies, and Mookie took the reins on that and has done a great job over the last year and a half. So I wasn't as up to speed on international assemblies as maybe I would have been back then, but I did take an interest in Africa and South Africa because of all the disharmony and all the various groups. So you will recall I put a call out there last year to around about September, October, to see if I could bring some people together and unity. So anyway, the feedback from Anna at the time was, I said, "What's your opinion on what's going on with Africa and South Africa?" She said, I've had a couple of Zooms. One of them was with Judge Fonze, and she said at the time she believed him to be of good character, of good standing, and believed him from the information she had. However, the information she had also seemed to a lot of it come from Hunter. She implicitly trusted Hunter at the time, and rightly so. He never gave her any reasons whatsoever not to trust him. And it seems that the relationship that started to form between Adrian and Hunter was a match made in hell. So for whatever reason, that completely turned to Hunter. But at the time, she had done initial due diligence, but she really left that up to Adrian. She said Adrian has the standing to recoup the fiat assets, and that's all she said to me. He's more than a judge; he has the standing to recoup the fiat assets. Now, the whole corporation thing, Anna didn't get involved in because she doesn't have any authority over corporation. Well, sorry, that's not true. She doesn't deal with it's through the public government and the assemblies. She has, of course, received much information, but she has enough on her plate with America and the rest of the world. That's why she had put her faith in, through Hunter and through Adrian at the time, put her faith in someone she believed to be on the good side. So this is a kind of a journey that even Anna has had to go on, and Commissioner Bradley. So it's we can't really point a finger and say why doesn't she do this, because she's trying to trust who she trusts, and at the same time she doesn't have the ultimate responsibility over a national or a local assembly. That's up to the people, and it's up to the assembly itself. However, the only reason she can intervene is if the safety of the members of the lawful assembly, the public government, is at risk. And that's what she has done. She does it regularly in America, having to even dissolve assemblies, state assemblies, and recreate them or have them be called back into session. So I vaguely remember that call. Hindsight's a great thing. We can all say we should have done this and should have done that. She put her faith in people that she genuinely believed to be on the good side, and it's just over time it's maybe taken a bit longer than we needed to realize that these people were against us. So lessons learned, but we can't really go control the past at this stage.
Tony, now just like Anna, right? We, the people on this side in South Africa, we put our faith in the assemblies. Yeah. Now, how do we actually know? Thank you, Carolise, for raising that. How do we know we must go or we should support this assembly? You understand what I'm saying? So,
well, I'm going to give you the same answer I gave Carolise. We're looking into that at the moment, and we're talking to these assemblies that are still operating and claiming to be the lawful assembly for Africa / South Africa. So we're looking into that. So very soon we'll have an answer for you on that.
Yes, because for the last 10 years, I've been in communication with most assemblies, and there's only one thing that stand out. It's all about power.
Yes,
that's the battle.
Yeah.
Okay, Tony, thank you so much.
Well, I'll also say, and I'll say this to Carolise as well, and anybody in Africa, and there is nothing. You have the power. The will of the people have the power. If you have people and they respect you and they trust you and you're in the communities, there is absolutely, and Anna would completely vouch for this. There is nothing stopping you actually creating your own local assembly. Don't wait around to find out who's doing what. If you feel that there's shenanigans or people are about power, create your own local assembly. And in your communities, you're well entitled to do that because it's the will of the people. So if you get, if you have indigenous people who want to return to the land and soil in your local communities, your tribes, townships, whatever it may be, and you're like, okay, well, who's the National Assembly? Who's that? While we're figuring that out, there's nothing stopping you helping people to return to the land and soil, and helping them with their paperwork. I imagine you have the paperwork there for them to do so. And obviously, if you need to get the basics like a website and know what to do, but there's nothing stopping you creating a local assembly. And then what will happen is when we discover who's the lawful, the one and only public government or lawful assembly, then you will join in with them.
Okay, Tony, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you very much. Again, I'm conscious of not. I think Rafa, you've been waiting a while. Hello, Rafa.
Yes, my name is Ursus and Rafa. Yes.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Hello. Hello. I'm from Switzerland, and I have a question concerning, first of all, you mentioned 2 or 3 days ago you would put up a group, or you already made wanted to do some teachings or education with healing and education. Yes. People. Where can we get information on it? This is my first question.
Okay, Rafa, what is what I would like you to do? Are you on the Tony Talks channel?
Yes, I am on the Tony Talks channel.
Okay,
yes.
Will you contact, if you go and look at the admins and just send a DM and they will get you the link.
All right, great. Then my second question is, is this also concerning about people that have a business or wanted to do business but haven't been in the global family group yet?
Yes.
This is the same.
The same, yeah. We have a separate, yeah. That's why I put a call out there, because we're creating our own business community within the new system, and we want to start building the database, and so we can start sending email updates out to the business owners before our system, is ready to go live. So, if you have, again, if you haven't done so, or anybody you just have to contact one of the admins in Tony Talks and send your details in, and then you'll be added onto the list. And very soon, email updates will be shared.
Okay, and you mentioned you made another a third Zoom call or something. You haven't done this yet.
No. Sorry, do you mean with the Q&A with Anna, or which is this?
No, not with the Q&A. You mentioned you would do this on your own.
Okay, yeah. Well, there's another one that myself and Evie or Evelyn, we're getting some really, really special talks out, because we're going to be sharing our life experience about some really important topics, like, if that's what you mean. And we're actually recording our first one tomorrow, and that will be on the subject of living with dementia in the eyes of a family carer. So we're also going to be doing talks on, and bringing Anna and others into these talks and sharing life experiences that people can benefit from. So that's one thing. The other is the business and the things. The other is the healing. I'm not sure what the other one is. I'm sorry, I've gone blank. You might remind me if you find out.
Yes, but it's the first. You just mentioned this one, with the dementia and people, where you would bring in. I would love to be on this call again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be recording it tomorrow, and that will be. We're doing recordings first of the first few calls, and then we're going to start doing live ones and bringing in guests like Anna and other experts. So everything from dealing with trauma, dealing with dementia, things that we've personally gone through ourselves, dealing with how to align with God into your life, and all the miracles that happen around that, how to grow your own foods, how to cook healthy meals, all of this stuff.
Wonderful. And what is the same thing with DM to the administrator?
Yes, please.
Yes,
please.
Okay.
Danke schön, Rafa.
Yeah, well, I have two more questions.
Okay.
All right. I was just watching a beautiful sunset while waiting, so that was with the whole Alps panorama from here. So that was wonderful. So the next question is talking about you mentioned the AFD and the heritage dollar covering backed up with silver or gold, and that was the third one with the prepaid credits. Well, how does this function? Can you elaborate on this a little bit one more time?
Well, it's all under the prepaid credit. So it's all prepaid credit. It's all credit that we've already paid for. So the AFD is allowing us to get prepaid credit from the gold they used the credit from our gold. So your gold, my gold, and the people's gold. So when you have a bar of gold and you could use a bar of gold to buy many things. And so with the gold that was supposed to be for the peoples, they were using the credit from this for their own nefarious reasons. And we were we were not getting the benefits to that. So the profits that they were making from that should have been going to the people. So that's going to be given back in the form of prepaid credit on the back of the using the AFD. And then the silver, which is based on the silver they used. Again, they used the credit from the silver to make profits for themselves. Those profits should have been going back to us. And the main fraud they committed was the Federal Reserve note fraud, the fiat currency fraud off the back of that. So that was supposed to be backed by silver, the Federal Reserve note. So as Anna explained very well, we've been exchanging our own labor and time and goods and services for promissory notes that have no date to pay. That was supposed to be backed by gold, and we were silver, the U.S. silver dollar. We were supposed to be getting the interest from all of the various exchange of U.S. silver dollar Federal Reserve notes against goods and services, but we weren't, and they provided us monopoly money, and they started taking the interest from all of the exchange of goods and services should have been exchanged by a U.S. silver dollar backed note, but they didn't. They took the interest from that and they handed us. They didn't give it to the people like the profits, and they also handed the inflation of the currency over to us. So more debts. So a very complex system. But all in all, whether it's AFD or heritage dollar, it's all prepaid credit that's due back to us. So you're going to see the AFD, which is a prepaid credit backed by gold. You're going to see the heritage, which is backed by the silver. So they're both prepaid credit that you're going to get. And then there will also be the assets for the lawful assemblies, the public governments. They're going to be separate. They're going to be given their funding through their national sovereign accounts. But that's why it's so important to join and be a member of your public government.
Great. And there's another question talking about a guy he is from the Isle of Man, Simon Dixon. He's been into everything was financially and into cryptocurrency, and I would recommend you maybe getting in touch or getting in contact with him, because he seems to be a great guy, and I could mention him to get in contact with you.
Yes, please.
And he's done worldwide with all. He makes this speech or talks with them clear about everything's going to go, and he is a great knowledge about everything what money and cryptocurrency and the blockchain is concerned.
Okay,
he's a great capacity.
Yeah, please DM me about him. And look, Anna, we're all open to alliances, even if these people may. I was talking to a very, very powerful few guys earlier on who are very aware and very connected to the old system, but they can't stand the old system, but they've been immersed in it. So So we're open to alliances and conversations with anybody at this stage. Once they are on the side of good versus evil, and they want to put the people back in control. So please DM me also tomorrow about that man Simon, please.
DM directed to you or to the administrator?
Well, either in relation to that, if I have to talk to you, can. Well, no, I'll tell you what. Keep it to the admins, yes, because then I won't miss the message. Thank you.
And last but not least, talking about the Go Fund, Go New Earth.
Yes.
Is and Sasha Stone, is he also involved in Go New Earth or not? Or these people?
No, I came across Sasha back in 2019 when I was looking for justice for what happened to my mother when they took her life in Ireland. And he had a thing called an organization called the International Tribunal of Natural Justice. That was my first experience of him. Nothing really came about from that. So I really saw some red flags, if I'm honest. And then we reconnected. I was introduced again to him about a Lazarus project, which I had, and he had the same name. And if I'm honest, I'm not really. I wouldn't be running up the street or sending a Christmas card to him.
All right. Okay. Good. Great.
Thanks.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for all you do and for all the healing you do with
Thank you. God bless.
God bless you. Ursus is my name.
Okay,
Ursus.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
God bless.
The bear. Bye-bye.
Okay. So Teboho.
Yes, Tony. How are you?
Very good. Good. Thank you.
Greetings to everyone. My name is Teboho Molapo from the Mountain Kingdom of Lesotho. Lesotho is just a very small, tiny country wholly and surrounded by South Africa, and we are an independent country. My first question to you, Tony, is about the emails that were sent to our people from which were said to be compromised, and a lot of people fell victim of such emails, and they registered whatever that was said on those emails. And my question is, would there be anything that can be done? Because I think they did it unknowingly. Is there anything that can be done to restore them back to lawful status?
Yes. Well, absolutely. Look, of course, the whole purpose of returning to the land and soil is to step back into who we are and where we're supposed to be standing. So that's why we all do the reconveyance and conveyance and status correction. So unfortunately, yes, when you register something, you're registering to the crown, to the king or queen, and also when you record, you're doing it lawfully. So those who've been tricked into that, as Anna said, on the face of it, she said they need to do their paperwork again. But I'm going to speak to her about that, Teboho, because I feel there are things that we could maybe do. I have one or two ideas that could actually fast track things and enable people to be able to just do this a lot quicker. And that will involve a little bit of technology that we can implement. So I'm going to be speaking to her about that. That's high on my priorities.
Oh, thank you so much. And the last question is that last time you were saying that you're coming down to South Africa for the establishment of the med belts. Are you still coming, and when can that be?
I can't say when, but I can definitely say yes, I'm coming, but it's not going to be immediate. There's some things I have to still do in my own country, but for sure it's the med bat that we're launching. But I'm actually tying this in with what's happening as well, the work that Anna is doing. But I have some things still to do here, so I will let people know in due course, Teboho. But I'm definitely going over soon enough.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much, Tony. God
no
bless.
problem. God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, again, I'm not sure who's who, what's what. So we go with, let me see. I think Martina, you jumped in again.
Yes.
Is that another question?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Martina. I have another question. You asked me before if I am part of an assembly. So I'm German, yes. And my friend Karina introduced me to GFG, and I registered with all the English forms, or I did my status correction, not register, and everything went well, exactly like she said. Everything went well. I uploaded my data, everything, and waited for the acceptance of these. Later on, a few weeks later on, I got my account, but then it stopped. So far, so good. But then I was introduced from a South African friend, another South African friend, to that guys who have the German assembly, Terra Germania, Katja and Uwe. And before I left to Germany for the on my last flight on the 9th of July, I just checked my phone. I asked a question in the German Terra Germania group about the registration process, because I have some friends in Germany. I wanted to help them to do their status correction. And I asked because they are doing things differently, and they sent some forms to themselves to prove to the government in case blah, blah, blah. So I asked a question, and I think I got an answer, but it didn't make sense for me. And now, after you told me a few minutes ago if I'm part of an assembly, I just wanted to check what's going on in Terra Germania. And can you believe it? They threw me out of that group. How can I trust any assembly that are throwing people who are already status corrected out of their groups? I'm really mad.
Well, I obviously there's a process to follow, but I can't speak for any other assembly. I do have a lot of respect for the people in the German assembly. Obviously, Martina, we don't know each other, so that so I'm only speaking to you for the first time. So obviously that's
who shall I trust when I look for people in my mother language, and yeah.
Well, look. Again, there's a process. There's I'm going to be speaking. I'm due to speak to the Katja and Uwe soon. So, but look, I really don't. It's not my position, and I don't have authority to really get involved.
No, but I just wanted to raise that. Whom shall you trust if you are taking that serious and you want to do it right? Everything went right when I did it. I have absolutely nothing to complain about. My status correction, everything that happened in South Africa, I have nothing to complain about. Anyone here in South Africa, don't understand me wrong on that. I have really nothing to complain. Everything is well. But then I asked a question in the German group and got thrown out. So that's why other people spoke about power. The one are competing against the others, and this and this and this. What are they scared about if you cannot just ask a question they don't like?
Well, I've had the same thing thrown at me. So in terms of saying that I wanted to control and block and things like that, I'm not saying the same thing is going on here, and that was not the case from my perspective. Listen, people can, as Anna always said, she doesn't have time for individual personality clashes, or people don't necessarily get along. That happens in life. She said it's up to people to realize this is not about them. This is about the people in terms of building your assembly and your public government. So that's the first thing. If I was to speak to Anna about this, that's the first thing she would say. She doesn't have time for getting involved in people's personality clashes, or if they have any specific issues. But when it comes to an assembly of the authority, she will always say that if it's up to the lawful assembly and the people to get together. You have your various sections set up. You got, your peacekeeping task force, or that will be set up, and that obviously makes things easier when you need to look into things, and your militia and the processes. But in respect to Germany, it is still a very early stage. I mean, it's they've only been at this for, I think, 6 months, maybe a year, and it's progressed a lot. But look, Martina, all I can say is if you need to get and speak to anybody if you need to resolve things regarding your assembly, I'm not here to mediate, and I'm not here to counsel. So I will actually be speaking to Katja. Actually, I see Katja's here. So I'll come to Katja in a moment. She has her hand raised, so I'm sure she wants to speak. But I'm not going to have this turning into a German tit for tat assembly meeting, you know. And she said, and I said, and he said, and things like that. I'm giving my time here up for nothing. I don't expect anything in return. I'm already at this for 2.5 hours. So if there's things to be sorted out with, I know you probably feel you have a valid point, but I think really it just needs people to get around the table and to be mature and responsible. If there's reasons why people were blocked out, I'm pretty sure they have very strong reasons. If you object to it, there has to be a process to object to it. It's the same.
I don't even know them in person. I was on one Zoom call and I was in that group, nothing else.
Okay.
I don't even know them.
Okay, just to clear this up there, because I'm as I said, Martina, I don't mind asking any other questions.
It's okay. It's okay.
I don't want to.
Do you understand people when they think there must be something wrong if things like that happen, and if you do not even have access to a general information or to a standardized process or whatever?
Okay, cool. Katja, come in here, love. You want to jump in here?
Yes. Yes, Tony, thank you. Hello, Martina.
Hi.
Yes, I do remember you. And the question that you said to me, you said that you came from South Africa, that you lived in South Africa, and that you were very happy with everything that you did there, that all your paperwork was done. And what I told you is that what I asked you is if you have domicile in Germany. And you said no. So what I told you is that your documents you have to do from the country that you're living in. Because
it was not about me. It was about I'm traveling to Germany and I meet friends who are living in Germany, and what paperwork they have to do that I do not understand. Why I could do the South African paperwork, why can't they do the same? Why Germans are doing it differently? And I wanted to know where the forms are for the German people, for all my friends that are still in Germany. It was not about me. But anyway, I don't want to bring that up on this call.
Well, yes, Martina, all good. I was just answering what I thought that you asked me. Maybe that other question you asked to another admin, but it's good to answer so that people also know, because they think that they have to do the paperwork in both countries, and that's not the case. Okay, so it was just an answer. And as I said, and it's very clear, I made my course of recording secretary with Lisa of Ohio. That is an amazing woman. She knows everything. And she said to us very clearly that the people that are in our assembly have to be living in Germany. Otherwise, it makes no sense. The moment that we reunite together, the moment that we have to work on the field and everything, you have to be here. Okay. About your friends, I am always open for friends to come. As I said, as long as they live in Germany or as a guest to do your paperwork. If you haven't done it, we can help. But in your case, you were absolutely set, and you expressed yourself how happy you were with all the knowledge that you became from Africa. So I really didn't see anything else about it. Now, that we kick you out, that I don't recall, because we kicked out not for a question. Never. It's just a question. And to be fair, I don't remember kicking you out. And if you said that you were just in one meeting with us, I really don't recall. So
yeah, I can send you the screenshot of my last question, what I asked.
Oh yes,
if
please.
You like. But how shall I send it to you? I am not in the group anymore.
Yeah, please send it to me. Send it to me.
Yeah, no, where? I'm not in the group anymore. How shall I send it to you?
You can send me in Telegram. I am in Tony Talks as well. You know.
Yeah, send her a DM and try and resolve this outside. Sorry, folks, I don't want to take up any more time on this, because I've got a few more questions. So,
if you could, thank you so much. I just
no
wanted
problem
to answer that because there's
thank you, Katja. No, that will help. Martina, please, yes, just DM Katja if that's okay. So okay, success. I'll jump in there. I have to go soon, folks. So I don't know if I'm going to get through all the rest of the ones. Herbie.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi. Just a quick question. My account has just been accepted, and my question is, does it go onto the new system, or do I have to resubmit things?
What account is this, Herbie?
The status correction.
Okay, where did you do this?
I done it originally in GFG.
Okay, and which country or county or country are you in?
Yeah, UK.
Well, okay, so what county are you in?
I think it's Lancashire.
Lancashire.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know which county you're in.
I'm not sure, because I'm confused with that, because when I spoke to somebody a while ago, they said it was because I'm part of Dr. Murley's team.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, look, don't worry about, just hold on to your, have you got your document saved? Even though, have you got your document saved?
I've got the documents. It actually said I've been accepted because I checked it. It said everything's accepted. But when I went on a second time, it just did not, it just wouldn't show coming up at all. There's nothing else added.
Okay. Yeah, just they're trying. Look, they know the game already is up and what they're trying to do. So don't worry. But the fact that it's a very good point actually on new ones, new GFGs that are going in. So I do know that there was a big migration done. So I'll double check with Shannon and see, is there a migration being done every day, so that any new ones that are going onto the old system, which is compromised, are migrated over. I'm pretty sure that will be the case. Because they have all the security now sorted. So, right. But I would just say for your own peace of mind, just to keep a copy, and I will post. Is a very valid question. I will post an update on the Tony Talks channel about those who are just being accepted now onto the old GFG system, just to doubly make sure that they are being migrated over to the new one.
Right. So the other question is just that I've got about 4 other people that I'm helping with their paperwork as well. So okay. Do I just let me know what link do I use, or how do I do it?
Well, Teca.live is the place to go, teca.live. But Dr. Murley would surely be the person you go to. I think she's.
Yes, I suppose she is, but I wanted to hear it from you.
Yeah, she's whoever's the coordinator or land recorder. They're the ones who you go to. You should have a land recorder. If not, there has been land recorders. Yes, admittedly, they were GFG trained land recorders, but we all know now what's been going on there. But there's a group of land recorders, about 9, who are the most experienced around the world. So they are there ready to start doing people's land recording on our new system. So just don't worry. Once you've got your documents notarized, you've got the date, you've got the witnesses, you can use that, and I'll find out if your new application that's been initially accepted by GFG, if those new ones have been all migrated. I'm pretty sure there's a daily migration being done by Shannon. I'll find that out in post.
Yeah, all I'm saying is it was a few days ago. It was actually the 17th.
So just send to your Tony Talk, send to Tony Talks admin, just in your email address that you registered and your name, Herbie.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. No problem. Louis, how are you? This is the second last question, folks.
Good evening, Tony. How are you?
I'm okay. Tired.
Yeah, I can believe so. Okay, I'm going to be very short. We talked a little while ago on something else on Telegram.
Yes.
I just want to, regarding this conversations tonight of possibility of liquidations of gold for South Africa, maybe for the assemblies here, and maybe a little bit bigger on the rest of Africa. Can I get in contact with you tomorrow regarding a possible proposal for Anna? We can discuss the detail of it tomorrow. I don't want to keep your time up.
Absolutely. Were you who was it? Martina? Was it? She was recommending we speak as well. Was it?
I think so.
Somebody recommended.
I don't know. I don't think. don't think it was for me. No,
No,
it's a different Louis.
it was another person, not this Louis.
Okay.
It was another person.
No problem. Yes, please send me a DM, Louis, and we will talk about any if anybody has anybody that's on the good side and they want to talk in relation to banking, in relation to in relation to that side of things, please just don't be afraid to reach out, because we're unlike what we were hitting with roadblocks all the time with Hunter, with all these ideas and think going to him and he was just shutting us down. Now we know why. Now we're open, that the road is clear. So yes, I'll talk to you tomorrow about that, Louis.
Thank you, Tony. Have a good night, and we talk tomorrow.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
Michael Kidwell, last but not least.
Yes, my name is Michael Kidwell, American State National. I just wanted to make sure I understood things right. So Anna is exploring multiple avenues of liquidity, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And I just wondering, a second question, when are you going to be posting something on after speaking to Anna about whether people who checked the box when dealing with GFG on having to redo their paperwork?
Yeah, I'm going to speak to her actually this evening before I hit the hay, so because it's an important one. So she did post it on the Q&A webinar last night. I'm not sure if you saw it. I got delayed posting that recording, so she talks about it. Yeah. Sorry, Louis, could you just mute your mic there? Sorry. Sorry, Michael. So I will be publishing, or the admin will publish the recording from last night where Anna talks about it. But in relation to, because it's come up a few times, I'm going to give Anna a call after this and post an update. Either she might text me about it, and I'll post an update.
Okay, I was just wondering about that, so I can take it back to the Tennessee Assembly so they can know.
Oh, I heard you've fully restored your assembly, or fully restored your public government. Is that right? The 4 pillars.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're seated.
Absolutely over the moon. Brilliant. Great work. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do, Tony.
No problem. God bless. Listen, folks, thank you for your time. I have to go and shut down here and take a break, and I'm going goggle-eyed. So hopefully this has brought you some good clarification. I will post this recording, and we will speak very soon. Thank you all.